The mess hall was loud, filled with the clatter of trays and the low hum of soldiers unwinding after drills. She sat quietly in the corner, her hood drawn low, eyes scanning the room with a practiced calm. The other recruits barely noticed her at first, till a group of them decided to test her, to see if the new girl was as fragile as she looked. One of them smirked and nudged another. "She can't even handle herself," he whispered. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening." The moment their fists swung toward her, time seemed to slow. Her heart beat steadily, a rhythm she had drilled into herself over months of covert preparation. She had trained for situations exactly like this scene, underestimated, dismissed. The first hand came toward her face. She leaned back just slightly, letting it pass by, her movements deliberate, almost lazy. Then the second strike, and then she acted. In a blur, she twisted, grabbed, and disarmed. Each motion was precise, controlled. The room fell silent, the clang of trays and chatter vanishing into stunned gasps. She was no ordinary recruit. Her body moved like a shadow, fluid, deliberate. The soldiers who had laughed moments ago were frozen, their bravado evaporating as they realized the woman before them was far from ordinary. If she thought she'd never see them again, she was wrong. The scent of fear mingled with the lingering aroma of coffee and grilled rations. Dust motes danced in the sunlight streaming through the windows, catching the tension in the air. She could feel every heartbeat in that room, could sense the hesitation and doubt seeping into their stance. And then, with a calm that betrayed the storm she had contained inside her, she spoke. "Back off," she said. Her voice was low, steady, commanding. There was no malice, only the undeniable authority of someone who had walked through battles they could not imagine. The soldiers hesitated, but pride and adrenaline kept them rooted in place. She thought she was alone in her mission, yet now every eye in the hall was on her. The SEALs, the covert ops instructors, the commanders watching from behind mirrored glass. They knew something the recruits didn't. She wasn't just a recruit. She was an undercover black ops agent, trained to blend, to observe, to strike with surgical precision. Every muscle in her body was coiled. She didn't move until the right moment, until she was certain there would be no unnecessary harm. Then she acted again, this time, faster, more decisive. Within seconds, the 4 soldiers who had dared to corner her were on the floor. Disarmed, stunned, their earlier confidence shattered. The room erupted in whispers, a chorus of shock and disbelief. Who is she?" someone murmured. Others glanced at the mirrored windows, hoping to catch the eyes of their commanding officers for confirmation. They had underestimated her, and now they knew their error. Her inner thoughts were a mixture of calculation and empathy. She didn't enjoy hurting anyone. Every strike, every maneuver, had been necessary, precise, and measured. She had trained for infiltration, observation, and survival, not for humiliation. And yet she understood the lesson her presence now delivered. Respect was earned in moments like these through courage and skill, not through force or intimidation. The atmosphere was electric. Dust swirled lazily in the beams of sunlight, highlighting the tension still lingering in the air. She adjusted her hood, allowing a strand of hair to fall into her face, and slowly, deliberately, met the eyes of the closest soldier. There was a spark of recognition there, the realization that they had faced someone extraordinary, someone untouchable in her calm precision. The murmurs grew louder, soldiers beginning to recognize the figure not merely as a recruit, but as a lethal force operating. Under the cover of anonymity, her calm demeanor, the quiet authority in her posture, the calculated efficiency of her movements, it all screamed experience, training, and a history they could only guess at. She thought she was invisible, but the truth was now clear to everyone in that room. She was a black ops agent, embedded, observing, and perfectly prepared. The lesson was as silent as her movements, yet it resonated louder than any shouted command. Never underestimate anyone, especially not someone who chooses their moment. The soldiers slowly rose, eyes wide, respect tempered with lingering fear. The mess hall settled back into routine, but nothing was the same. Whispers followed her every move, stories of her skills spreading like wildfire. She had proven herself without ego, without spectacle, and yet the impact was undeniable. her heart calmed as she collected herself, checking her surroundings with the same disciplined awareness that had kept her alive in far more dangerous circumstances. She knew the mission ahead required focus, patience, and silence. But for now, she allowed herself a small, private victory. The knowledge that her presence had shifted the balance. Even here, in a place that seemed ordinary, but was filled with latent danger and hidden hierarchies, because respect isn't demanded. It's demonstrated. And in the quiet aftermath of controlled chaos, she had shown more in seconds than most would learn in years. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. She left the mess hall quietly, unseen, a shadow among shadows, her mission continuing. But the memory of what had occurred lingered, a silent testament to the skill, resilience, and unwavering focus of one extraordinary woman. The soldiers would never forget her. Neither would the observers who had watched the entire event unfold. She had transformed fear into respect and doubt into recognition, all without a word of boast. And that is how a single undercover agent reminded an entire unit of the power of skill, patience, and silent authority.